Well, good morning and a very warm welcome to Luanda. We're coming to you once again from the Talatona Convention Center here in Luanda, Angola, where ANGOTIC 2025 is taking place. Yesterday was day one of the three-day event, and we had the opening ceremony. There was lots happening. It was buzzing with many participants, exhibitors, and just viewers alike, all in one place. That was yesterday. Of course, for day two, we're looking forward to what will be unfolding here. Yesterday, we had some conversations, as we know that the Minister of ICT of Namibia, Madam Emma Theophilus, is here with a delegation. We managed to gauge her thoughts and first impressions of ANGOTIC 2025. She's no stranger to ANGOTIC. She's actually been here before. She visited last year as well, and she was speaking to us, of course, also about the memorandums of understanding that is meant to take place and be signed between Angola and Namibia, and strengthening those bilateral ties furthermore. But for today, viewers, we've got the Director General of the Namibian Broadcasting Corporation also with us here in Luanda. He's also the President of SABA. We'll now engage him just to gauge his thoughts around what's happening at ANGOTIC, and we'll touch on some other matters as well. Mr. Stanley Similo, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, good morning, Nina, and also good morning to our viewers back home.
Lovely having you here with us so early in the morning.
Or should I say bom dia?
Bon dia, yes. We've also been picking up little bits of Portuguese. I think we'll be a little bit of an expert when we get back home.
Yes, no, definitely.
But just to start with, Mr. Similo, of course, as I mentioned, today is day two of ANGOTIC 2025. You're part, of the delegation that's here, and you witnessed day one, the opening ceremony, etc. So I also want to gauge, your impressions of the event this year around.
Yeah, I think for starters, one must actually extend hearty welcome and also appreciation for the Angolan counterparts that are here, and also then recognize the fraternal relations that exist historically between Namibia and Angola. As we know, as we go back into history, these two countries have been cemented in having a common vision of how Africa should look like. And we also know the role that Angola has played in assisting Namibia in getting to where we are. But extending that further, we are here today, and as of yesterday, together with our minister who's leading our delegation, linked to the bilateral understandings that are there at political level. And then in the case of the NBC in particular, we deal with the local television partner TPA. The radio segment of Angola is run by a different CEO. So we're also busy discussing that. And yesterday was quite culturally quite a good experience for us to have, particularly with the official opening. We were exposed to Angolan cultural music storytelling through music, which was quite something. And then after that, we also went with the minister. She had some behind the camera discussions with her counterpart here. And we were also privy to one or two other meetings where we were also discussing issues of common interest in terms of where the country stands. But for us today, it's quite an important day, and there's many things that will be happening.
Well, you touched earlier on TPA, which is Televisão Pública de Angola, which is their public broadcaster. And they've been very gracious to offer us the technical support to be able to, do our live crossings to Namibia while we're covering the events here at ANGOTIC this year. I want to talk about the relationship that the NBC and TPA have had in the past, and, with this new memorandum of understanding which will come into place, how will it expand or be bettered for the future?
Well, it does not get better than what we are experiencing now.
Right.
Just the fact that we can actually transmit live from studios that they have created for us, directly from Luanda straight into the homes of the Namibians. That speaks to the level of engagement that we are having, even at level of organization. And when we indicated that we are coming here, we were already operating alongside a very sound basis of doing business between the two entities. So, I mean, you guys, it was one discussion, and the next moment they gave us the studio with all their cameras and all of that, creating and making us feel really like we are at home. So that relationship at the level of country to country, organization to organization, linked to what is happening at the SABA level as well, speaks volumes about the harmony that we've been fostering for, to say that within SADC, within Africa, when this type of activities are happening, we should find it easy to make communication a thing that must appear to be nothing.
Yeah, yeah. When it comes to radio services, Mr. Similo, talk to us about the current exchanges that are between the two countries on that front. I know you mentioned that we have an Angolan program that happens on our national radio. Talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's actually a joint venture that is produced between the NBC, the radio side, National FM, and the Angolan radio element of it. It's a program called Capish. It runs every Saturday at about 3, and then I think in the afternoon, and gets repeated on Tuesdays. What we've been doing in that program specifically is to tell Namibian and Angolan stories from a very relaxed environment. We reflect on culture, we reflect on music, we reflect on things like cuisine, and there's an element of also teaching each other language, English and Portuguese. So it's a program that has been running quite well, and I think its amplification will also go further once we get to that part. But for today's event, it will strictly be linked to TPA, which is the television side of our partners here, where the highlight will be for us to sign a new memorandum of understanding, which will entail the aspect of very directed content exchange.
Yes.
We will be looking at fostering technical exchange at the level of teaching each other what is happening. And linked to that as well, the journalists, yourselves, presenters, will from time to time be coming over the site as well, and so will they come to us so that we can see. And immediately when we go back after signing today, one of the things that we will have to do would be to go and look at other contents that we have, and then indicate that this is content that the NBC owns 100%, that we can seamlessly give over to them, for them then to either subtitle or do voice translations and then run it on their TV channels, and the same will be expected from our end as well. So we believe that that type of enrichment will always be a good thing, so that we remain in touch in terms of where we are, in terms of the things that we do. And then of course of late, the aspect of artificial intelligence into the space that we have. You will recall that last year in Swakopmund, we had quite a successful event, but under the auspices of SABA, but that was hosted by the NBC, where we're looking at what is AI likely to do for us. And I mean, like now in our newsrooms, but globally, there's already an element of AI assisting with scripting and all of those, but the human interface must still remain, because you still need to come back and say, as a person, if I've asked any platform that you use, for instance, around AI, and it produces for you, you still need to go back and check and see that, is this what I really want? Because AI, to an extent, yes, it will assist from a time perspective in you trying to get quicker to what you have, but you still need to interrogate to make sure that whatever you put out speaks to what you intended it to do.
Yeah. I want to talk, Mr. Similo, a little bit about broadcasting and how, of course, it's not the easiest or the cheapest ventures to do. And as national broadcasters, sometimes, we fall short in terms of the financial goals we might have for all the things that we'd like to do. And from what I understand, how TPA has done it, and how they're sort of funding their expeditions is drawing, financial resource from, certain sectors. Is that a model that we could follow?
It's a yes and no, and I'll try and explain to you. For us, the first call is that we don't have the market size. I mean, 3 million people in Namibia, 36, 38 million in Angola. So already, just from a pure commercial marketing perspective, you see it's a no-brainer. So here in Angola, they can pull businesses at mass in terms of scale. So naturally, that should allow them to get to a point where most probably the funding of whatever activities they undertake can be catered for from a pure commercial perspective. Now you take the same and you contrast it with what is happening in the case of Namibia, and I think in countries like Botswana, most probably Lesotho and Eswatini, you find that critical mass is a thing that hampers what we need to do, because our aspects of getting commercial entities to come on board, advertise like aggressively, you can only go up to a certain percentage.
Right.
That is why in the current format that the NBC is having, our reliance on funding from the state will remain a critical component. And I want to go further to say that if ever the model has to change, then you will have to change the way in which you do business. But that might not be a feasible one for us now. But what we must do, we must always try and do and encourage elements of commerciality within what we do without compromising our mandate as a public broadcaster. And I can safely state that at any given year, we make about 100 million Namibian dollars, which is also not small change.
Right.
But we still need government's funding as the shareholder to make sure that the operations of the NBC goes. And ours is even more complicated. We are a terrestrial-based broadcasting entity, meaning that we depend highly on towers. Just to maintain that already is quite an expensive exercise on its own, whereas in Angola, they are 100% satellite. So from a footprint perspective, it's there, and they own that space as well. So, yes, if one looks at it from face value, one might think that, yes, the NBC, in the case of Namibia, should be able to do it as well. But it is simply just not at this stage feasible.
Viable.
But should corporate Namibia, the businesses, decide that they will heavily start putting money through commercial deals into NBC, then you can lessen the burden of depending on
the state.
On the state for funding. Yeah. So if one could just sort of like interchange the aspects of how the percentages are currently playing out, that would then also give us comfort, and then the less money we would be getting from government could then be diverted to other projects that are equally very important in terms of what is happening.
Well, Mr. Similo, we're almost out of time, but just maybe to wrap up, briefly tell us what your program today might entail and your final remarks.
Yes, as I was saying much earlier on, it's our ministers, our line ministers program. I know we're going to be going to a data center. We're also having our press agency number present with us. And then, of course, one of our own highlights would be the signing of our MOU between us and TPA. So we're looking forward. And the people of Angola have been extremely friendly. I think it's almost like you are home.
Yes,
yeah,
it definitely feels like that.
It's just the driving the right side. Yeah, when I sit in the car, I close my eyes because the cars are going the wrong way.
But it is well.
But it's all well.
Yeah.
It's all well.
Mr. Similo, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day today.
No, thank you very much.
Well, that was the Director General of the NBC and the President of SABA, Mr. Stanley Similo, speaking to us. That's all from us for right now here from the Teletona Convention Center in Luanda. We'll catch up with you guys on NBC One a bit later on. For myself and the team, we'll see you later.